Hi, I'm Rita. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Life Worth Reading. Today we are discussing my winter TBR, aka all the books that I want to read in the next couple of months. Now, I feel like we need to discuss this, right? Because I feel like I've recently done my autumn TBR, now I'm doing a winter TBR, and you might think to yourself that these are all books that I'm going to read still this year, but that is not true. Okay, that is not true. I'm making a winter TBR from now, from like mid-November, early December to February, okay, of next year. I don't think I could read all of these books this year, and I just don't know when my next seasonal TBR will be. I guess it'll be around spring, around March. So I am making this TBR for the books that I want to read until then, which will include the transition into the new year. Some of these books are in fact a little bit longer because I feel like this colder months really do sometimes translate into reading longer books and just feeling completely immersed and experiencing a more complex and long story. So I have picked some of those, and I tried to pick a mix of genres, but without further ado, let's just get right into it. First, I'm going to start with a book that really does give me winter vibes, and that is The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. This is a book that I would like to read until the end of the year. I think it was on my end of the year book tag, but this also gives me like January vibes. I don't know, it just really reminds me of Christmas, of winter, of the cold. I love the gold and blue mixture of this book. It gives me winter. It really does. And this is a historical fiction with a pinch of fantasy elements, a pinch of magic, and it is following World War I, where two siblings, a brother and a sister, are trying to find themselves, I think, amidst the war. Yeah, in the middle of the war. It says here, in a world torn apart by war, a brother and sister fight to find each other. And this was a lot of people's favorite books of the year so far, and people love Catherine Arden. I still haven't tried her writing, but I feel like a standalone is a good way to sample and just involve myself with her writing and see if it is for me. And I'm just very curious about this book. I feel like I would have a great time reading it. I do love a sibling story. I don't know what to expect, but I want to love it, and I feel like this is a really good pick for the colder months, and I hope that I love it. If it would make it to my best books of the year, that would be absolutely incredible, but still, I don't know if I'm going to get to it this year. We'll just have to wait and see. Next up, let's discuss a reread that I would like to do also maybe this year, and that is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I've been waiting to buy a copy for myself, and I've very recently done it. I bought a beautiful, but it's a normal, it's not a special edition, but I bought a beautiful hardcover, and I feel like I'm finally very ready to reread this book. It has been a long time since I first read it, and I remember that at the time that I enjoyed it, but I wasn't very comfortable with fantasy yet, especially the King Arthur lore. So I would really love to give this another try, because this is about our main character Bree, who is a high school student, but she is going to college for the summer, I believe, if I remember correctly. And she is investigating the death of her mother and discovering that she may have some fantastical and magical abilities. It was a very intense read, both in terms of the plot and in terms of the characters and the things that Bree's facing, but I thought I had a great time with it, but I just really want to reread it before I continue on with the series. So I thought that towards the end of the year, after I have already posted my best and worst books of the year, I could dedicate myself to this still quite big reread, and you know, just so I can be ready to continue on with the series next year. Next, we have a nonfiction just to mix things up. This is a book that I bought very recently and that I would love to read for nonfiction November, but we'll just have to see if I can get to it. And that is Killers of the Flower Moon, The Osage Murders, and The Birth of the FBI by David Grann. This is absolutely inspired by the Martin Scorsese film. I saw it last year in October, and I absolutely loved it so much. The hurt, the pain, the beauty of this film, the ending especially, I think about all the time, and I think that this would be a very interesting nonfiction to read and to learn about the real history of this subject, which is such a dark subject, the way that the Native American people were treated in Oklahoma. It's really upsetting, but I feel like it's time for me to read this, and I think this would be a really incredible nonfiction to read and to get more details about what actually happened, and just to dive myself into different perspectives. If you've read this book, please let me know if you enjoyed it. I've seen amazing reviews for it. I think it'll be very dynamic and interesting, but I don't know, just let me know if you have any thoughts on this book. Then I have a book here that I've been telling you that I'm going to read for a long time, and it hasn't happened yet, but I feel like it might happen soon. Okay, soon. And that is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. The reason why I'm putting this on the winter TBR is that if I don't get to it this year, I want to get to it in January or February. But this will also be a buddy read with my friend Bia. We are in our fantasy bag at the moment, so I am absolutely just waiting for the right time for both of us to start reading this book. And we are in the midst of finishing the Farseer trilogy at the moment, which means that I would like to take a little bit of a break before diving into the next really intense fantasy trilogy. So if this only happens early next year, that's okay, but I really want to get to it. I feel like, I don't know, this is such a different type of fantasy than, for example, the Farseer trilogy, and I'm loving that so much. I don't know if this is going to compare, but everyone who reads this loves this. Even Kayla from Books and Lala, she recently read this first book from the Mistborn trilogy, and she objectively said, like, yeah, this is a very good book. Like, I don't know if I would continue on in the series, but this is a very good book. All I know is this, like, what if the Dark Lord won? I know that this powers and the magic system in this book involve the ingestion of metals and stuff like that. So I know a few things about it. I just don't know where it goes or the characters very well. And I don't know, but also this cover just, it gives winter. It gives January, it gives cold. So I feel like that would be the right time for me to read this. But again, I'm waiting on this one because it'll be a buddy read, which I think would be very much more fun, especially because Bia has read this series and she has really loved it. So it'll be my first time, and I'm just waiting for the right moment for both of us to start reading it. But I am scared, but I'm excited. I don't know how this one is gonna go, but I hope that I love it. Because speaking on that, I also made an impulse purchase last month, and I bought a book that I really think that I'm going to enjoy, and that is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This is one of his standalones, I think called like Secret Projects or something. And this is a standalone, again, a short book that is about a princess, I think, and she goes somewhere. I don't know. I heard that he wrote this book for his wife, which I thought was the cutest thing, and I've heard amazing things about it, and I've been thinking if this should be like my first book of 2025. So I've been debating on that, whether to read it this year and hopefully it'll become a favorite of the year, or if I should leave it for next year. Give me your thoughts. Like, have you read this book? Is it good? Should I hurry to read it, or should I leave it for like early next year? You know, I don't, it looks really cozy. I think I'm gonna like it, and I have been craving more fantasy standalones. I feel like it's such an important addition to the market instead of just focusing on huge fantasy series. So I really appreciate the effort to, you know, make a standalone, and I would like to read it. So let me know your thoughts. When should I read this book? When is the right time for it? Because I think this is going to be a 5-star, or at least I want it to be. Then, to break up the fantasy, I also have Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. This is a book set in Iceland, I think during December. No, maybe I'm just making that up. But it is set in Iceland, so a very cold place. And I feel like it just also gives winter. The story itself, it's about a woman who has been accused of murdering her husband, and so she is put on a death sentence, I feel like. Yeah, a woman condemned to death for murdering her lover, a family forced to take her in, a priest tasked with absolving her. But all is not what as it seems, and time is running out. Winter is coming, and with it the execution date. Only she can know the truth. This is Agnes's story. I don't know, I've heard amazing things about this historical fiction. I've heard amazing things about this author, and I would really like to try it. And I don't know, again, it's giving winter. That's all I'm going to say throughout this video. Like, why am I choosing these books? Because they feel like winter. They really do. So I hope that I enjoy this. I hope that this is a historical fiction that I would like to keep, even though I really do not like this cover, but we'll just have to see if I keep it or not after I read it. Lastly, I have two other books that I would like to read in the next couple of months. The first one is Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. I bought this book kind of impulsively, I'm not gonna lie to you. And the reason why I would like to read this book is because it is a romance fantasy. I don't feel like it's really a romantasy, because I feel like a romantasy just implies certain things if you know the genre. So I feel like this is a romance set in kind of a fantasy Regency era, and I am not the biggest fan of romances. I'm not. I've read a few in my time and a few that I have really enjoyed, but overall it's just not a genre that I gravitate towards. But I feel like mixed with some fantasy elements, I feel like I could maybe enjoy this book. It's also quite short, and I just want to try it. You know, nothing happens if I don't like this book. It was a little bit of an impulse purchase, so it's not like I'm missing something if I don't like it, but I don't know. I would like to try it, and I feel like that's important. I like to try books, and I never want to steer away from any specific genre. Like, I love to try new things, so I feel like this could be a good time. And lastly, I have another book that I bought kind of impulsively at a secondhand bookshop, and that is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I still even have the little sticker on here. I'm going to try to take it out. Should I? Should I take it out? No, I shouldn't. Not right now, I shouldn't. It was a little bit damaged, but I don't really care about that. If it's still readable, it's still readable for me. Oh my god, my hair. Ooh, okay. And this is firstly a very popular book. Has been for a couple of years. Celeste Ng really is that girl. She writes books that everyone absolutely loves. I still haven't seen the series either, but I would really love to try this book, and I feel like it also gives me winter vibes. It's kind of like a family drama from what I understand. Yeah, it's set in the suburbs of Shaker Heights, which is a terrible name for a suburb. It's about a custody battle. It follows a family who is trying to adopt a Chinese American baby, and that custody battle dramatically divides the town and puts the main characters on opposite sides. I don't know. I think I'm going to enjoy it. I think I'm going to enjoy this. I usually like family drama books, so I feel like this could be a good pick for me. And finally, my introduction to Celeste Ng, because what have I been doing all these years? Why haven't I been reading her books? It is time. It is high time that I read her fiction and hopefully love it. All right, friends, so that is my TBR for the next couple of months, including the first few months of the year. And please let me know if you've read any of these books. Do you agree with me? Do they give you winter cold vibes? Do you think I should prioritize any of this book before the year ends, or should I just leave them for the next couple of months? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Okay, I think that's all that I gotta say. So if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content, and I'll see you in my next video. I hope you have a nice day, and always remember that life is worth reading.